One of the more harmful ideas that I've been observing in progressive and new agey circles in the past time has been the idea of oneness, that we supposedly are all one, and there is this mystical union with all creatures, with all the universe, if you want. And it has been called universal or cosmocentric compassion, to have compassion not only for parts of your family members, to parts of your ethnic, tribal identities, but to also have compassion for the entire universe. And the problematic reading of this is when you get into a state in which you feel positive emotion flowing out towards everybody else, towards all human and non-human creatures out there in the world, and where you feel united with all of them. And the issue is that this is not how human emotion works. Human emotion works and is driven and motivated by narrative. So the positive emotions that we get in this state of observation, when we feel one with everybody else and we feel this kind of warmth, the positive emotion comes from the narrative itself, where we place all other human beings and all other non-human creatures into a very specific narrative. And the veracity of that narrative, the certainty that we have that this narrative is right, is the thing that actually gives us these positive emotions. And it's not a mystical union with those creatures. It's conceptual, the conceptual which creates for us a sense of bonding with all other human creatures. And that it is conceptual, you can see the moment that people actually step down from their position of observation and looking into the world and feeling positive about the world, and the moment they get entangled with the world. Because the reaction then is, when you're really facing someone other and not just observing them and thinking and imagining them to be something, either something or something else, the moment you actually talk to them, you actually start experience negative emotion. You start experience fear, anxiety, you want to run away. And this is something I've been observing in particularly new age circles. Despite all the positive talk, the moment you raise some form of disagreement, people tend to shy away from you. And they, for example, you say, well, no, the idea of having no ego is problematic. You need to have an ego, or as Wilber put it, having no ego or depersonalization is one of the worst mental states you could be in. Express such a position within new age circles and people will run away like ants. So this shows you, the moment you're confronted with real life diversity, the reaction is not positive emotion but the opposite, and people usually can't deal with the opposite, namely which is then coming up. They have no mechanism to actually regulate the negative emotions and be capable to maintain a relationship with a person while being dominated by negative emotion. And disagreement, whether we like it or not, is something that creates negative emotion. And we don't have coping strategies. And again, even in those circles, people don't have coping strategies for dealing with negative emotion and still maintaining a connection to the other human being. The result is usually to run away, not confront yourself. And this is again what makes me think, hey, the positive reaction that you have, again, is not towards the diversity itself, towards the other person as the other person, but the positive reaction is that you have is that you are actually disconnected from the world, that you are in a state of observation and can freely project whatever you want onto other people and other and other non-human human beings. And of course, this gives you a sense of positive emotion, and you feel good in this emotion, and you want to linger in this positive emotion. And this has been highly problematic because this is not livable. You can't come up with a world which insists that diversity is the first thing, and we have to have a connection to everybody else. And the moment people try to establish a connection to you and you feel negative emotion, because whether you like it or not, the moment they disagree with your narrative, they will trigger negative emotion in you. You don't know how to deal with that negative emotion, and then run away. And this is something where progressivism and the new age circles have to reform themselves and figure out how to reintroduce, for example, Kantian ideas. In Kant, for example, the major idea is not to have positive emotion towards another human being, but exactly how to deal with the negative emotion that you have to assume will be there. What do you do with that? How do you go on from having a negative emotion towards somebody else because they don't fit into your narrative, and still maintain human connection beyond that? And I think this can be done, but not following the principles that I've seen in New Age circles, where you basically imagine the other away. You basically imagine true diversity away by imagining everything to be one.